Hey everybody, before today's episode, I wanted to promote our Patreon. If you didn't know, we have a Patreon. The Patreon helps supports the Couch Corp podcast. Sign up and join today and you'll be given special perks. Perks like Discord roles, as well as mini episodes throughout the week. You'll also get exclusive content like bloopers, highlight reels, and much more. And if you get the top tier, you get a free drawing by us in our own art style. And for any tier, you get a shout out on every episode that we produce. So do go and join our Patreon today if you can. It really helps supports the podcast. Now let's get right into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another Couch Corp podcast. This is episode 16, another Hangout episode. This is episode 8. We're just chilling, just talking, having a good time. Tori will not be here, I think, maybe. She had some things going on she had to handle. Mia as well. I think the game is still going on, so depending... Hold on, let's look at the score real quick. Update. Oh god, they're getting beat. No. 3-0. Oh god, no. But yeah, so it's gonna be me and Gabe, or Gabe and I today, for until other people want to join. So yeah, do go follow us on social media at Twitter, on Twitter at the Couch Corp podcast, and on Instagram. We do post on there. Any notifications, announcements, any polls we have on there. But definitely go join our Discord, because that's where we do pretty much everything first. We do our polls on there first. We do our announcements on there first. So do go join that. It's a growing community, and we'd love to have you on there. So do go join that. You can join our Patreon if you want. It really does help out the Couch Corp podcast and what we do. And yeah, so what were we talking about? Watermelon?
Yeah, we're talking about watermelon.
A great beginning to the episode.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you biting into a cold watermelon on a summer's day, I mean, I think that's like a core memory of childhood.
See, many people have not had that childhood, though.
So that is true.
We are of a special breed. What many may say is built different.
With needs that are special.
Okay.
But nah, because I was telling you about how there's this farm in Texas that used to have that would sell watermelons at like their own little farm store, and you get like the freshest, like crispiest, juiciest watermelons you could ever find.
Yeah, see, that was I miss like going and getting watermelon and like that type of stuff, but like it's kind of a rare. I don't think it's probably not gonna happen for a while just because of the situation that is the world at the moment. So so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But what's your week been like? How are things going?
Been pretty good. Nothing too eventful happened.
Nothing on the ranch. Just hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out, just doing the regular old ranch stuff and all that. And then... Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about getting some more chickens.
Some more chickens? Mm-hmm. What's stopping you?
Mainly just the money, and I really don't want to build the enclosure to get them, so it's like that. Because I'd either have to build another enclosure or make another one entire, or build like a different, like new enclosure, something that can house all of them at once, or build another one that'll just house the new ones. But I'm still on the fence on whether if I want to put the work in just for the chickens, because I want to get some egg-laying chickens and some one for like, I guess just for the sole purpose of meat. So that way, I can have chicken nuggies year-round.
Year-round chicken nuggies?
Yes, I'll start my own brand of chicken nuggies. Pasture-raised chicken nuggies.
Homegrown chicken nuggies. Free-range chicken nuggies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine's been it's been kind of chill. I didn't work a lot this week in terms of like bigger projects, but like it's been I've been working on stuff for Couch Corp pretty much the entire week. So
It's nice.
it's been something. I'm starting to try to get more stuff bumped out for the social media and everything, and we're starting to get Discord a lot more active. I'm trying to get more people in on it and hanging out and, you know, just seeing what's up. So plus we're getting stuff ready for the vlogs and stuff like that, and so depending, we'll probably have that looking good, hopefully. So
They get our camera equipment.
yeah. Well, here's a good thing that came. Wait,
lighting
what?
and all that.
Oh yeah,
Gotta get our light.
go get the rim light, the giant spotlight.
Oh, yeah, we get a boom mic.
It's me in the head.
Yeah.
Oh damn it! Nah, like I was gonna say, the good thing happened this week. Ethereum went up. It's almost at 4,000.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Surprise. Not really a surprise. I don't know if it's really a surprise, but yeah, it kind of happened. I'm also pretty sure it's because of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Wait, what happened there?
So that he had Reggie Watts on, and Reggie Watts released an NFT, and I think that was maybe it was a while ago, but he was talking on the Joe Rogan podcast about NFTs, and then Joe Rogan was like, "Oh, I don't know what NFTs are really. What is NFT?" And so he started explaining it, and the first thing that he brought up in terms of currency was Ethereum. So I'm pretty sure that kind of boosted it up a good amount. I mean, he talks about Bitcoin 24/7. Joe Rogan does, so it's like bringing up Ethereum probably really did something. So
What is this new strange thing?
what is this strange thing? This strange inanimate object? This fungible token, non-fungible token? What 'tis be this? Yeah, but he didn't know. They were trying to search up the meaning of fungible. Like, what does fungible mean?
What does it mean?
It basically means it can't be reproduced or duplicated, or well, the word fungible means it can be reproduced or duplicated. So like if I have like a picture of me at the pool or whatever, just with thumbs up or whatever, just, you know, hanging out on a summer's day, and then I print it, it's fungible, you know. I can keep printing that print, you know. But what an NFT does is it basically says it's non-fungible, so you can't duplicate it, or you can't like, you know, make copies of it. It basically means it's set in stone. So any of the art that I put on like Foundation is basically, that's the only place you're at, like it's one of one. So that's the only place you're going to be able to get that one art piece that I put up on there.
Yeah. So it's mainly it's sort of like it's like an exclusive for that. Wait, so like when you signed up to that place, does that mean that you're only allowed to just put up pieces of art just for that one site, or
No.
Let's say if you get accepted to another one, you can do the same there?
Nah. Well, the difference between the different NFT sites is like Nifty is the big, like the best one. Like when you go on Nifty, you're not gonna see a lot of unknown artists. You're gonna see all of the including like rappers, like Eminem's on there somehow. And then super rare is kind of on that level, except it's not for the big name, it's for the big artist, or the big digital artist. So when you go on super rare, you're not going to see people like Beyonce or Jay-Z or something like that. You're going to see people that are like digital artists, like what's a big Jason Eber, Shams Makia, David Ariev, a bunch of these 3D artists that are on that platform. And they're big because they have a certain style, and they accepted them because they weren't these big, huge names. They were good artists. And so, but it does lead to a lot of, like, I don't want to say it is gatekeeping, but it kind of is, like, but I kind of understand what's going on their end is like, they're having an influx of emails with a bunch of applications coming in, like almost 250, like per 2 days or something, whatever the last statistic was. So when you're talking about weeks and weeks of having to go through applications, they're having to throw out a bunch because some of them are either illegitimate or they're unknown people that have not been in the game for at least a year. So, you know, and then you have a place like Foundation, which is invite only. So you get invited, but you can be invited by another person on that platform. So if you're an artist on that platform, you can invite another artist onto Foundation. So you can send them an invite link and then, you know, do it that way. And then there's Rarible, which is considered the people's NFT site, because anybody can get on there and log in and have a Rarible account, and anybody can get on there and sell. The problem is it's so saturated because there's people on there. There's so many people on there that you will not sell your work. It's like super hard to sell your work, and unless you're selling it for pennies, and there's not a lot of collectors on Rarible that are willing to sit on Rarible and like go through everything to, you know, do that. What's weird about the art world is everybody's inclusive and everybody wants people to succeed, but the problem is that you end up gatekeeping in the end. So there's like, even though you want people to succeed and that you're wanting people to, you know, be successful in the art world and like have people buy your work, unless you're famous or unless you have a following or unless this and and you're on these big sites, you're not going to do well, which is sad, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times you want to change it or like you want it to change, unless you can come up with the best system possible, unless you can come up with the best system possible, it's not gonna change. It's always gonna be like that. What I recommend is don't get into the NFT world unless you have, and when I mean a big following, I mean like you actually have more than like 10,000 followers on like Instagram or something, like just or a hardcore audience, someone that actually like, people that actually like invest in you, like actually buy your work, and not just like your mom or dad, like people from across the world actually buy your work. Or you're a big name in the art world, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, one of these 3D artists on social media, but like if Picasso did it, but he only had like 500,000 people following him on Instagram, he could probably still do well. Or if you know people and you know collectors, which is it's now even harder than it was before. That's the only reason I got my work sold, was because I talked to collectors and I got the attention of some collector. Shout out to that dude. I think his name's Vicious, I think, on social media. Dope dude. But yeah. So I recommend like work on your craft and like keep doing that, and like I don't know, try to do something different but make it appealing, I guess. It's so hard to like say something about art because it's like, man, I see people buying cubes, like literally like the picture is a cube and it spins and people buy that like for thousands and thousands of dollars. There's a guy named Pock and he sells pictures of cubes, wireframes of cubes. There was a cube inside a cube inside a cube that's just spinning, and then he sells still images and people buy it for thousands of dollars. So it's like, it's hard to gauge what is good art and what is bad art, but like, because it's so subjective, I suggest just keep doing your thing, building a following, and like, you know, if people like it, then people like it. If you just don't care, then don't care. If you want to, you know, just do your thing. If you want to get into NFTs, just know the risk. That's my spiel. Because you do have to pay a gas price. So every time you mint something, and it's not like, oh, it's 5 cents. No, it's like, you know, you're paying a good like $80 to mint something.
Wait, so now that there's like, you know, a whole bunch of people buying and selling and stuff, are there any big name like art, like I guess art collectors in the NFT world now?
Yeah, there's a guy, I've talked to him, not like personally, like it wasn't face to face, but we were in a group talking. It was me and a few other artists, and we were talking with him. His name's Illustrator. He bought Beeple's piece. I think it was one of his first pieces that came out. His first big NFT collection, Illustrator. He bought one of Beeple's. There's another guy named God, what's his name? I want to say Metacoven, but I can't remember if he was the one that bought he was the one that put the highest bid ever for an NFT, which was Beeple's $69 million. It might have been him, but there's him, and then there's a guy named Brandon Kang. He buys a lot of people's art. There's another guy, what's his name? I don't know. I don't like announcing collectors as well, because I'm not sure where on the spectrum of whether or not they want to be known or not, because there's a lot of collectors that don't want to be known, like don't want to be thrown out there. The only reason I say Illustrator is because like literally he's been on like shows, he's been on stuff, like he's known, like people kind of know who he is. So like I'm not like just throwing him out there and not caring. Like I kind of like he's been on a lot of stuff. So but yeah, but there's a bunch of collectors that don't want to be known, because then you get a bunch of creators that keep shilling their work to the collector, and then that just gets annoying. And I feel bad because I think I've done it before where I've been like, oh, it's a collector. Oh, hey, I just want to say like, hey, you're cool. Like I like what you've collected. I think you might like my stuff. Would you mind to take a look at it? And then you know, that turns a lot of collectors off. Like especially if artists do that. So do be wary. I didn't think this was going to turn into an art podcast. Real quick. But I do recommend, like, if you're wanting to get into the art world, another way of doing it, as well as creating, you can also collect. I know a lot of creators that collect. I don't collect. The reason I don't collect is because I just don't have the investment to be able to put forth on that. Especially on good artists. At the moment, I don't mind creating because I can put it up for a certain amount of money and just let it sit. And what's good from the creator standpoint is, like, if you just let it sit over time, like, it'll get better and better. Like, you just have to let it sit. You just have to let it sit. And it's not because, like, oh, that investment ends up being, $1 million in the end. No, I mean, it could still end up being $1,000 or whatever you set it at. But it'll depending on what you do between the time you post it, or by the time you mint it and list it, and by the time you become the biggest artist in the world, that NFT could be worth like 10 times more, so do know that. But I don't know, do what you want to do. If you want to get on the NFT trend, then do it, but it's going to be at a cost, so do realize that.
Go out and create art.
Yes, do it. Go create art. And in saying that, Gabe is now releasing his first NFT, and he'll also be buying any NFTs that you shill to him. So do post it down in the comments. Do let us know what your NFT looks like, because Gabe will be buying.
If I can afford it.
Yeah, at this point, Ethereum just went up, so he might be a multi-millionaire. So, I don't think he's not gonna buy it. Do not shill. I repeat, do not shill. We do not buy NFTs on this podcast. That's been a thing. That's been a thing though on Twitter.
We put a thing and it's like the cash for gold.
It's like a pawn system.
And we buy gold. We buy NFTs.
Well, there is a thing like that. There's a thing like that. It's funny. Pac, the guy who did the cube stuff, he's basically creating his own, I think it's his own token, or not his own token, but his own currency type of deal, where basically if you have a Pac, or you bought a Pac piece, like a Pac NFT, you can, if you burn it and you show proof of you burning that NFT, which you can burn an NFT, which means you completely just wipe it off the face of the internet, or off the face of whatever, the earth or whatever, you can show the transaction of you burning that NFT, and he'll give you free money, basically, or free POC tokens, or whatever the currency is.
So what's the exchange rate for POC tokens?
I'm not sure. Because of that, basically, it allowed POC to put the currency into circulation, but I don't know how much it is. There's a lot of companies starting to do that. The render engine Otoy or Octane has its own system that's kind of like that. So what you do is you set up your GPU in your computer as a render node, so that people can render their projects on the system, and in exchange you get what's called a render token, or I think it's an RNDR token. But you can, it's basically, you're just getting free money for letting someone use your GPU power, basically. And it's pretty good from what I hear. So I haven't tried it out. I haven't really had time to try it out. I just don't have a lot of time during the day to do something like that. So yeah, but you can do stuff like that, and I don't know. I'm waiting until the end of this year to see how things go, because by the time October hits, it'll be a year of pretty much crazy NFT stuff. Because, I mean, NFTs have been a thing for a good while, but, like, it wasn't until last year around October when people started kind of talking about it, and then Beeple dropped his big NFT collection deal, and people were just swarming to go buy like his stuff, and then people were like, oh my god, I can make millions on NFTs, and then people started to try to create NFTs, and then
Yeah, it was sort of like that. Everyone tries to get in on the cash.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean celebrities have failed doing that. Like people have failed.
I was gonna say, yeah, like the whole point for like the NFT was to allow digital artists to be able to have like their own platform in order to be able to sell and have their work be credible and not be seen as like some sort of like, as like some sort of like, you're just do this for free type thing. It was meant for us to be able to make money and have a credible source to make art and all that. Because I know it's sort of like because like the NFT thing is sort of the same way how like traditional artists can sell their art for like millions too, and they're considered like artists. They're considered like true artists and all that because of that sense. And with it gives the digital artist the same recognition.
Mm-hmm.
For a lack of better terms, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, like right there. Because there've been artists that have gone on to, or not artists, I should say musicians, because usually it's mostly musicians. It's not like, oh, George Clooney's releasing an NFT, because it just doesn't really make any sense logically. But somehow musicians squeeze their way through. Because, and I mean soon, with some of these platforms, you'll be able to sell like audio as an NFT, so then musicians can do that. But for now, that's not really the case. Right now,
I imagine like the creator of Papi Muñeño just sells Papi Muñeño.
I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen. I mean, memes have been going for like thousands of dollars. Like, the original, the crazy girl meme, the one with the girl that's has her eyes like wide open just looking at the camera. Yeah, that one sold for like a lot of money, like crazy amounts of money. Yeah, memes have been selling pretty well just because, I mean, you're on the internet, you're selling things digitally. Of course memes are going to do well. But there's been like what was one that was like really that didn't do too hot? Eminem was one that was like, oh, it kind of did well, but The Weeknd kind of did well. There was a little bit of hype, and then it literally like the first day everyone was like, oh, cool, and then it died like right after. Like I didn't hear anything else about it. And it was kind of like, what? Okay. And they were reasonably priced for the Weeknd NFT, but I think those are more of a novelty. Like it's the equivalent of going to a pawn shop and finding like a Back to the Future, like collectible toy or something. It's the equivalent with some of these artists, but
yeah, it was just like collectible merch, I guess.
Exactly. I maybe over time it will get better and better, but for that it's going to be a lot longer. But for stuff like Beeple, that will constantly grow. Like that $69 million piece will end up being 70 mil after the fact. Like it'll keep growing just because of the timing of it and who it is and when it happened. And the significance of it as well. So that's just gonna get bigger and better, But stuff like The Weeknd, this sounds awful, but if he passes away, that will be worth probably double or triple whatever it was. Which, I mean, it was $100, so you're talking about $300 to $400. Not only that, depending on the edition. So usually with like fine art paintings, there's only one. So like, that's only one. But with digital art, you can make multiple. So you can have like 100 editions of something. And so if you grab edition 1, that's probably going to be the most valuable. But depending on what collector buys it. So there's one collector called Crypto888. And he's known for buying like 8 editions, like editions of 8, or like the 8th edition in the entire thing. That's like what he's known for, and what he's known for, like getting like 888s or something. So if there's like 1,000 and he gets 888, that's like his thing. And so those are worth a lot more too because of the collector who bought it. So it's not even just like, you know, it's not like, oh, this dude just bought this 888 version of this piece. Oh, it's worth squat. No, this collector bought it, so oh, it's worth a lot, you know. But yeah, like, I mean, The Weeknd did pretty, I would say, I haven't looked back on it, but from what I saw beforehand, like, it looked like it was going to be decent. Eminem is doing okay, I think. Like, it's not crazy numbers or anything. I'm pretty sure it ended and he still had some additions left. And then, like, yeah, but like, I mean, even Deadmau5 released something with Mad Dog Jones. That did really well, but then he did another drop and it didn't do so hot. I think he was trying to keep going with the NFT thing, and I think he wanted to see what could happen, but I don't think it did too well. I don't think that has anything to do with Deadmau5 in general. I think it just had to be, I think it was just the timing and what had happened beforehand. And I'm pretty sure that the Mad Dog Jones with Deadmau5 collab, like, that one was worth a lot more because of who he was working with and what the art was and the music behind it as well. So it did really well. So yeah,
that's good. I don't know, like, I don't know. I've heard like multiple things from people, like, you know, praising it, and then multiple people like just like shutting it down. Most of the people that I've heard shutting it down, they're not really that much of the big time artists like Beeple.
Yeah.
So they're saying, like, a lot of people that are rushing in, they're saying that a lot of people rushing in to, you know, to jump on this NFT like train or whatever are all they're usually just small time artists, and so they're just, you know, trying to sell whatever they can, thinking that they're gonna get like millions of dollars, and they don't realize that the ones they making like big money are like big artists, the one that have been known for like years and years and have that following.
Yeah, I think I mean, you have your right to say whatever you want to say about anything, in my opinion. Like, I feel like if you want to say something, go and say it, like, about, especially about art. Like, I think a lot of the time there's artists that hop onto the trend thinking they're going to do well, just like you said, and then they end up just not doing well, and then they have to complain about how NFTs are this and that and that. One of the big complaints was the environmental cost of it.
Oh yeah, because of, like, you're farming for like crypto and all that.
Yeah, well, you have minting, the cost of minting and the gas fees that you are putting your work, like, trying to get your work up to be sold as an NFT. It's like hurting the environment. But the thing is, I think, one, we didn't have enough time to really understand the environmental impact of NFTs. Like, I mean, literally, like, it was maybe a few days or like a week or two after the Beeple drop when people started, like, complaining about NFTs. And I was like, okay, well, we haven't had enough time to, like, assess the situation and understand what NFTs are doing to the environment. I do not want the environment to be hurt, but we haven't had enough time to, like, assess the situation, figure out what is actually going on, and giving some time for evaluation and studies being put into this. You went on the internet for 5 seconds, found the first article you agreed with, and then blasted it on Twitter, thinking you're a hero. Like I get you're coming from the right place, but like, you've got to give us some time, and you've got to like figure out what you're like looking into. And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, NFTs aren't destroying the environment, but it's the same way as like me driving my car a few miles down the road is destroying the environment. You know, me literally eating food is kind of destroying the environment. Me farting is destroying the environment. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that you could say destroys the environment. Me turning on the light because it's not a renewable energy source or whatever, or me going into work every day is destroying the environment. I mean, there's a lot of things that are destroying the environment. Like, you just have to assess like what's even worse than other things. And I think that because it was such a small group of people, the NFT world, that it was easy to pin them into a corner. And what's even sad is it's artists pinning other artists into a corner when it's not the artist's fault. It's the people that are creating the blockchain and the people that are like minting and the people who created this entire thing in the first place are the ones that you should be going to. It's the equivalent of going to McDonald's and someone smacks the shit out of your hands with like right as you were about to put that Big Mac in your mouth, like, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? And they're like, you're hurting the environment. It's like, dude, don't blame me. I'm hungry. I just wanted food. Like, I wanted to eat something. Like, I mean, that's probably not the best example, but like, that's the first one that came to my mind. But it's like, dude, like, there's a lot of things that are just destroying the environment, like especially 10 times worse than a few artists putting JPEGs on the internet, like, you know. So I mean, but I'm not downplaying it. I feel like people need to look into it as well. And there is a new thing coming out. Or there has been a new thing coming out. It's Tezos. But there's this website called Hickenuk. It's Latin. The name is Latin, but basically, supposedly, from what I understand, I haven't used it. I look into stuff before I just start jumping in, and I'm probably not gonna do it. Not because I'm not faithful to it, or it's like not because I'm like, oh, it's stupid, but because it's like I just don't have time at the moment. But basically, the whole idea is it uses Tezos instead of Ethereum. And so you can use your Tezos to mint, but it does it without having to destroy the environment. That's my understanding of it. Ethereum's coming out with something new too. I think it's like Ethereum 2.0, maybe 3.0.
I should have named it Ethereum Junior.
Well, okay, so the whole idea was like there's Ethereum Classic, which was the original Ethereum. But then what happened was there was a lot of issues with Ethereum Classic. But that back then it was called Ethereum. And so what happened was a few people broke off of there and made Ethereum, like the Ethereum we know now. And then a few stayed with Ethereum Classic, I think. And then now, I think because of the pushback with the environmental stuff, they were in a panic. So they're trying to create like the new Ethereum blockchain or the new Ethereum thing. I don't even think it's blockchain based anymore. I think it's a proof of trade or something. It's something like that. I'm not an expert, but I think that's what it's called. But do go look this up, please, for the love of God. Do not take me as the cryptocurrency expert. Go look that shit up, because I ain't trying to, no, we ain't doing that. So go look it up. Don't trust me. Terrible influence. So, But yeah. But yeah, I don't know what else to say on that. Just be nice to everybody. Like, I understand people people get emotional at some points. And it's like, just be nice to the person. Like, I'm pretty sure the artist is thinking the same thing as you. Like, they don't want to hurt the environment. You're not wanting to hurt the environment. I think we're both, like, they're both, the artist and the person blaming the artist is in the same boat. It's like they're arguing over a fish. That one fish, who should eat the fish? Like, you know, it's like, there's only one, but when in reality, if you work together, you could figure out a way to do something well. Like, you know, instead of, you know, one person eating that fish, you could probably split it or figure out a way to get more fish with that fish. I don't know. It's like, I try to use metaphors, and the metaphors that I come up with suck. You know? But, yeah. Just be nice to people. Just, you know, the artists aren't trying to hurt anybody. We know you're not trying to hurt anybody, people that are blaming artists. Like, we know. We hear you. We hear it a lot. But take the time to talk to people instead of blasting it on Twitter, you know? I feel like I need the themes. Like, I need a little theme song after that. Why can't we be friends? I have to do it that way because DMCA. So I'm gonna sing it like shit. So.
Can we be friends?
Why can't we be friends? I feel like we're still gonna get a DMCA after that shit.
First strike.
Oh, whoa.
What?
Tori. Okay, I have streamer mode on Discord, so like I can't hear when people just hop in.
That's fine. I've been here for a while.
Oh, okay.
Tori's been here for a while.
I didn't know that. That's the thing. Like, I couldn't hear if you were hopping in or not.
No, that's fine. And it's also preferred when like people that live stream have that on. So it's like that's like my one like pet peeve is like when I watch a streamer and when they have to VC hop and it just it's like please.
It's ear piercing. I wish I could change the noise. Like, I just hate it just sitting here because like people will just hop in. I'm like, oh my god, my ears. Like, it's like it's
nice when I'm like working and I don't have Discord pulled up, so it's like, oh, I can hear that someone joined the VC, but like when I'm watching something and I'm like watching like a game or something, you know, I'm watching content and then you see like the doo-doo and it's like, all right.
I'm shutting it down. I'm sorry. We're backing out, buddy. I don't want
it. No, I won't like close a stream because of it, but I'm like, okay.
I'm muting you.
I'm like, it's because I know that streamer mode exists. I'm like, you're a streamer.
You know it's mode. You know it exists. What are you doing?
Discord half the time automatically turns it on for you.
Yeah. It does for me too, and I'm glad because I'd be stuck trying to figure that out every single stream.
You could probably what are they called? Do like the toggle hotkeys? So
Yeah.
I have toggle hotkeys set up for like I can toggle mute, toggle deafen, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, y'all kids and y'all's toggling hotkey and
I'm pretty sure I'm older than you.
Okay, look here. We're at.
You youngins, and I'm like, I am literally older than you.
Are you? Sure. Wait, are you? Okay, wait, so...
I know Gabe's older than both of us, but wait.
Yeah, Gabe's older than both of us.
Yeah, I know that one.
I'm December.
I'm an old fuck.
Oh, yeah, I'm older than you then.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Usually that's how it goes. I'm literally like, oh, December, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm older. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without publicly disclosing my birthday, yes.
I don't. What? I guess it's whatever. I don't know. I'm not gonna say like how old I am. I'm not gonna be like I'm fucking 5. Like
I'm turning 13.
I'm turning 13. No, but
we all have Benjamin Button's disease.
Oh no.
It just
we're all shrinking and like our voices are gonna get higher pitch with age.
Oh Lord. Oh,
that'd be awful.
Oh God. Oh Oh, we were talking about NFTs. What are you?
I was here. I was listening, but like I'm gonna be completely honest. I have nothing to add to that conversation, so I just kind of sat there.
Well, what's okay? Let me ask
I've
this.
talked about NFTs for like I feel like a year now. I really don't feel like talking about it.
You don't want to
unless
anymore.
I have to.
Okay. Well,
I just feel like I'm a broken record when I talk about it.
I don't know. I mean, for any of the podcast listeners, I think from me, the artist who's created NFTs, as well as talked to collectors as well. So we have that. But from an outside source, as you being an artist who hasn't really gotten into NFTs, unless I just don't know. Like,
no, I have not actively done NFTs now.
Okay, so then what is your outside opinion seeing it happen from a distance?
It's mixed. It honestly it's mainly just mixed, just because it's like and I guess like from my perspective, like it's not just like me looking at it and be like, ah. It's like also just like talking to other artists and getting their opinions as well. More so like artists' opinions that like have bigger reach and more experience than I do, because I'll be honest, like I'll use the artist term loosely because I actively have not done art and published it in a hot minute, because we love being a full-time student, and I just artist burnout has been kind of a pain in the ass, so I haven't had the motivation or drive to create anything in a hot minute. But like I'll talk to people that actively are like digital illustrators and like, you know, are constantly taking commissions. Like people that like, you know, if they did like their viewpoint on like if NFT would be worth it or not, they know a lot more than I do. So like talking with them, and it's pretty mixed because it's like, you know, because it's like, and I guess in part, like, where I get iffy with it is like, and it's all a matter of opinion because art's subjective. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, well, that's dumb, but like, a lot of the things I see on there are really like memey, and just kind of like, why? You know, but like it's whatever. Like, you know, if people want that, they're gonna buy it. But I know it's like, I guess like some artists that like, especially because I don't know like how factually correct this, but like just from what I've seen, NFTMC are like a lot more popular, or like the ones that do well are like a lot of it's like the 3D created ones, and it's not as much the 2D created ones, which is where like a lot of the 2D illustrators that are like, you know, busting their ass to make these like digital like paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get really pissed off because it's like they're spending a shit ton of time. That is not to say that like the people that are doing 3D are not. But I just know subjectively a lot of times like the 3D takes less, by comparison. Because like when you apply a texture versus having to draw in a texture, it's just a difference in time added, you know?
Yeah,
but that doesn't belittle their art in any way. I'm not saying that in any manner. I just know like a lot of times from their perspective, it's like a lot of times those are put up on a pedestal above the others a lot more in that setting, I've heard. And like a lot of times I think they feel almost like belittled. So like they must feel like devalued, I think, a lot of times. And it's like at the point it's like, you know, and I think it's also because a lot of it's auction based. It's the risk of, I spent 30 hours on this, and there's a potential that it's gonna not get me anything, versus like if I just opened a commission slot and could have gotten actual money for this, you know? Which is where I think a lot of artists are like, they would rather, because time is money and crap like that. I guess that, and I guess the other big thing I've heard is just like the concept of like just how the internet works in general, and just like how digital media works, is the fact that in the nicest way possible, if you try to sell something and be like, this is the only digital copy of it that exists, that is a blatant lie. Just because, in the nicest way possible, I myself don't personally have a background in this, but I know people very well that do have a very, very educated background in it, in like how computer science and coding and all that shit works. And they've told me like exactly how that, even like how the NFT website setup works, and how, like, you know, yes, that is their plan, but like technically when they say like, oh, you're like, if I give you this file, like this is the only copy of this file, please just know that is technically a lie, because how like websites work and just generally like digital files, it always has to be somewhere in like I can't explain because I'm gonna mess up the terminology, and I don't want to mess up the terminology, but it's like it's always technically accessible if someone wanted to try to get into it. So like by that standpoint, I'm like iffy.
Well, no,
because it's like I guess it's when like someone tries to take a print and goes, I'm gonna sell this as an original, like not an original, but like I'm gonna be like, this is the only one of this, but it's technically a digital file. And it's like, okay, but there isn't only one.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
the thing about non-fungible tokens is that it's literally like anybody could go on and like I could go on the the Etherscan website, and I could look up all the transactions and stuff. If I have the time to find it, I could go find the ones that I've sold on that on the blockchain. The thing that makes it like non-fungible or unable to be duplicated is that you can go on there, but there's only one like serial number, or there's only like what I think it's called like the blockchain address. There's only one like that. Now that image isn't what you are paying for that token of that image, but you're not really paying for that image. You're paying for the token of that image. So that's
so you're just paying a large sum of money to be like, yeah, I bought a copy of that.
No. Well, what you're doing is you put that image up. That image it's the equivalent of saying like,
it's the equivalent of them putting a barcode on an image, and you own the barcode because each barcode's unique.
Yes, but the barcode gives it that value.
Okay.
But you can't.
I'll be honest, that makes me less want to spend money on that.
Well, the thing about it is that barcode allows you to verify that you actually own that NFT of that image, because some person.
Oh, and that's all good and fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the thing is, the concept of NFT is, at base value, it's a collector thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's really only something for if a collector wants to be like, yeah, I own this. And honestly, that's it. Because from the standpoint of people that just want like, hey, I really like that piece of art, I kind of want a copy of it, can I buy a print? NFTs are not the way to go in the nicest way possible. That is not the way to go.
And I've said that before.
I think that's the main distinction that a lot of people, that's not made for a lot of people, because a lot of people hear it as sell art, and in the nicest way possible, it's not really selling art, it's just selling like it's partial ownership of an art piece, which is just like which is in the nicest way, but what's the term for it? It's literally like I'm also like kind of tired, so I'm kind of
well, I mean, you're investing. I think you're not investing in the art. You're investing in the artist, because when you buy the NFT,
that's connected to the piece. I thought it's connected to the specific.
Yeah, it is, but you're mostly supporting that artist and not so much the art itself. The art does help that, but whatever happens to the art, whatever you do with that, it always goes back to the artist. I mean, it's the same way within the real world.
Well, that's just how general currency works.
Yeah, well, I mean, paintings and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Whatever happens to that artist, whether it be great or not great, will depend on if that art piece does super well or not. And either way, if the artist, something happens to the artist that's bad, or if it happens that's good, it's still going to go up. I mean, it's sad to say. Like, sometimes it's sad to say. But I think what gives it a good thing for any artist, digital artists that for a long time have been doing digital art and have building up some sort of fan base, or have just been building up like their portfolio, they can now go on here and set it up as a non-fungible token, mint it, do all that, like, and sell it for a decent amount of money. And then over time, whatever happens to that artist, that NFT is worth something even more later on. Even if it's just like $5 more or something, like, it still has grown. Now, not significantly, but it still has grown. But I do see it as a risk. Like, do understand, like, any of this is a risk. So if you're a small artist, like, if you're literally
stock market in general, like, in the nicest way possible, like, everything that goes up must come down.
Yeah.
Like, in the nicest way possible, like, and this is the thing with, like, crypto in general, a lot of people run into is, like, a lot of people invest in it, and it's all about investing at the right time, and, you know, and then you have to pull out of that investment and be like, okay, I need to, you know, convert this into, like, whatever currency you use before it drops, because then you're just going to be at a huge net loss. So it's also that, which I think a lot of people, which make or breaks it for them too, because at the end of the day, even if people don't want to admit it, it is literally just it's literally just stocks in art.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. Pretty much it.
That's exactly what it is. And it's not like, oh, that's bad, but it's just like, it's just understanding, like, if you want to play that game, just understanding what game you're playing. And I guess that's the main reason I personally am not really going into it, is just because at least, like, where I am now, I do not see the necessity to do that. And at this moment, I have so much shit going on that I do not need another thing to be constantly worrying about and checking up on. You know, if later, you know, when I plan to continue to create art, you know, on the side of what I'm going to be doing as, like, a full-time career and all that fun stuff, if I really want to, and it's still a thing that's really, like, actually doing well, sure, why not? But, like, I don't think it's anything that's necessary for people to do, because at the end of the day, it's really something that, like, it's for collectors. And I guess the main complaint that people are having with it is because it's not something that, like, it's not something like, oh, the common man's gonna be betting on your piece of work, because that's not what it's for. And anytime you get into a situation where it's kind of playing on the, okay, this is kind of an exclusive club thing, yeah, people aren't going to be happy about it, because they're feeling left out of the picture. That's probably honestly what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that's with art in general. And I was talking to Gabe about it too. Like, I think that's art in general. Like, even though a lot of artists, there's this whole mentality with the art world of artists supporting artists and the struggling artists, and being from that, like, no matter what, I have this underlying theory, and I feel like there's a lot of people that think the same way as I do on this too, that no matter what you do, there's always going to be a hierarchy when it comes to art. Now, it does shift and it does change, but it's never going to change. The system that the hierarchy is set upon is not going to change. there's always going to be artists that are going to grow and climb up that pyramid and be on top, but they're always going to come down as well, and they can shift too. So depending, like the bigger artists are going to do magnificently well, but the ones on the bottom are not going to do as well just because of, you know, certain things, whether it be you don't have a big following, or whether you haven't only been in the game for literally like 2 months, you know, or whether or not like it's 2D or 3D. Like I'm sorry to say, but like there are amazing 2D artworks out there, but they're not going to sell as much as something like another like a 3D piece, just because of
it's the unfortunate truth.
Well, I think it can change. That's the thing too. Genres change. So like 2D can be the big thing in the next few months or something, or in the next 2 years, or in the next 5 years, you know, like it could be bigger than 3D coming up. Or you can mix like 2D and 3D. I mean, shoot, if Sony put up their Into the Spider-Verse stuff, like that would go insanely well. I mean, not only because it's Into the Spider-Verse, but because I'm pretty sure that collaboration with 2D style along with the 3D animation or the 3D sort of look to it will help it sell as well. So, I mean, you know, it fluctuates, it changes, but the system is not going to change just because of how it's set up, you know. And I don't think it would be as interesting if it changed. Because if the playing field was literally just flat, there's no interest with art and collecting. If that's the case, then why am I buying this? Why is a collector going to buy this piece of art if it's just going to sit up on a wall and not over time be gain notoriety or gain, you know, some sort of big investment to it, you know?
Yeah, but I guess that's also its own argument in itself. Is like, should someone buy art because they actually enjoy it, or do they buy it because they see it as like a potential to gain more money in the future? Because that's the thing, like which is like, again, just a lot of times like there, and that's also a thing with collectors in general. Like, you see two different kinds of collectors: people that collect things they like in general, and they just kind of like, hey, I really like this and this, so I want to get as much of this as I can. Because I know, even myself, like at one point, like I really liked like a certain thing, and I'll be honest, that thing had garbage numerical value, and I knew that, like, yeah, I wanted to try to collect as much of, like, I wanted to, you know, have all of the varieties of it or whatever it was. I forget what it was. It was probably some, like, figurine or, like...
Yeah.
Something, you know, something that, like, some actual collectors do. And, you know, I'm like, you know what? This really appeals to me. I really enjoy this. I want to have a collection of this. And some people do it out of pure passion. They see something they really like. They're like, you know what? I want that. I want to own that because, like, you know, it means something to me, you know? Then there's that. And then there's people that go, I want to collect that because I know in 10 years it's going to be worth something. Which is, like, cool, but, like, I guess... And this might also be why some people have an issue with NFTs in general, is I don't know if a lot of artists want people to be looking at their artwork not as, oh, I actually like this, and being like, if I buy this, how much is it going to be worth in 10 years? Because it, you know, like, as an artist, like, I don't know how I would feel about if someone's like, instead of looking at it and being like, and telling me like, hey, I want to purchase this because I actually really like how this turned out, versus, hey, this is probably going to be worth something in a couple years, so I'm going to buy it just because of money, you know? And it's like, okay, no, in the nicest way possible, like, kind of shitty thing to tell me, but cool, like, because it's kind of like straight up to the artist, like, I don't care about your actual artwork, but I'm gonna buy it because it's going to help me in the end.
Yeah,
That's what it is at the end of the day.
I think the thing is, like, there's two sides to it, and of course, I've had someone say, like, I think I'll pass. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, it's whatever. It just doesn't, But I've had people be like, oh yeah, I want to buy that because I like it, and I think it's a two-sided thing. I think there's people that collect. It's the equivalent of like baseball cards. Like, people want to collect cards.
Well, as I've said, there's different kinds of collectors.
Yeah, there's people that want to collect baseball cards because the value of it can go up, and depending on especially if they're players like in the league right now and they have their rookie card or something, over time that player could be amazing, and then that card is worth so much more later. But then there's some people that just really like collecting cards because they like the look of this card, or they like the history behind this card, or something like that.
Yeah, because it has actual like personal meaning to them.
Yeah. So I mean, even though I want both to be in play, which I guess for some people that will probably sound like really dumb, because I know there's some people that are heavy, like hardcore, like, I want you to buy the art because I want you to like it, and if you're just one of these guys that are like, oh, it won't invest over time, oh, I don't want you in my art circle, like, I'm like, that's not healthy, because it's like you've got to allow both to be in play. You got to allow the collector that wants to see that investment grow over time, but then you also have to have that other collector that will want to buy the work because they like the work. I think both go not hand in hand sometimes, but sometimes they kind of do. I've had collectors that are like, oh yeah, I'll only buy it if I like it, and I like the artist as well.
Yeah, which is valid.
Yeah, like I've known people that I've talked to collectors that are like only buy certain people's art because they know
if they like the style, or if they know what the artist is and they don't want to support someone that might just be a terrible person.
Well, not even just that, like they see their growth. Like, I know people that are, or I know collectors that are like, will buy people's art and then be like, oh yeah, I want to buy that art because over time this person's going to get bigger and bigger in terms of their significance in this, like in the 3D world. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, okay, that's awesome. Like, they really like this artist, they want to support the artist, they're going to buy that art not only to benefit them, but because they see that their potential is going to be greater in the future. And they want to just support that artist in general. So they don't buy just random art out there. They go and buy that specific artist's work. And it's not like a anonymous thing. Like, I know, like I talked to the collector that bought my work. I talked to that person. Like, I because they bought my work, they invested in me. They saw something in me that would either grow over time, or in something like that. But they genuinely liked my work and they really wanted to have that in their collection. Which was also a great thing as well. Because there's some pieces that collector like didn't want because they just were like, well, I don't like this the significance of this one, but I do love that one because it looks. I like the look of it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I dig that, and so they went and got this one piece instead of the other one, And I dig it. I dig anybody that supports me in all facets, whether it be a like on Instagram or something, or you buy my work for $5. I like, literally either way. I like your support. So
can I buy the Baby Johnson piece?
That's if I put it up. I think I don't want to. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna announce. I'm not gonna announce how much my stuff is going up for. I'll just, if you want to go look for it, you can go look on it on foundation.app. and look up my name, Revelo, and yeah, you can go check it out if you want to. But yeah. So, in conclusion with NFTs, it's a risk. Take it as you will. Do understand the risks. And do with what you please. Because you are
But
you.
don't be afraid. But don't be afraid to take risks.
Yes, don't be afraid to take risks. And learn from the risks. Because that's how you get better in life.
Yes, sir.
So, Tori, how's your week been?
Fine. I mean, it's been mainly like prepping for summer classes because I have a summer class that starts next week, as well as a job that starts next week. So just getting ready for shit. Yay.
One step closer. One step closer. You're almost there. You're getting closer.
To what?
I mean, to getting a job, to the summer, to you're getting closer to your degree.
Oh, fair. I mean, it's
Wait,
it's
are
just
you
a
working
small
at tech?
job just to get money.
is it like a temp job or
Yeah, it's a part-time job just for the summer
that's
while I'm home.
that's summer temp job?
Yeah, just to get some money because I haven't been able to have a job for a while, so just to,
Pay them bills.
yeah, pay the bills, save up, pay off the degree and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's good. So, Sushi just asked, what are the most embarrassing moments in your life?
Thanks. Knowing who Sushi was.
I know who it is too. So, Gabe, you better be answering. Tori, you want to answer it?
The most embarrassing life event in my life.
Well, if you want to answer, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I don't even know. I'll be honest.
When I accidentally called a teacher mom.
That's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done.
No,
Really?
no, I just.
Yeah, that's a bold-faced lie. Everyone's done that.
I don't know about. Well, I mean, yeah, it seems like everybody's done that.
I've definitely done that.
All I can see is that
but
meme.
not like thanks, mom. But like, I've definitely been like you say it and like you immediately realize it. But like, usually it's not loud enough that it's like people realize it, and if they do, like they might be like, "Ha!" But like then it's like they probably did it themselves. Like, let's be real. Like, someone's done it at one point or another. Because you never do it intentionally. It's just like you just like something's like it's usually like if they say something similarly in your brain, just like
autopilot just
just auto corrects it in. It's like
all I see is that meme of the SpongeBob meme where he's like arising from his body or floating, and just at the bottom it says like when you're one of the kids that didn't tell the or didn't call your teacher mom.
No. Okay, but like here's the thing, like I guarantee you we probably all did when we were like in like the super young grades. Like without a doubt, like I guarantee like probably like first graders do it all the time. But like they don't realize it. But they probably do. You know? Probably happens all the time.
It happened to Gabe in high school.
I didn't.
I've heard a lot of people accidentally having slip ups in high school. It just happened. Like they could be tired. It just happened. It's just a blurt out. It's just an incorrect word slapped in there. I don't
my
remember
test, mommy.
when.
Oh wait.
Oh, okay. Now that's different.
That's like the third grade thing or something.
I had a. So this isn't like my story, but it's a story of a kid that I used to go to school with in middle school. So I guess this kid was sleeping with the writing teacher's daughter. and she was in high school, or he was dating her. That's what I should say. But he was dating her, and she was like giving out some sort of smoothie that she drank a little bit because she's like, oh, I don't like the flavor. Does anyone want this? Because she didn't want to waste it. And like he was like, yeah, I'll take it. So he starts drinking it, and she's like, are you not put off that I just drank from it? He's like, no, I've kissed your daughter before, but I guess she didn't know about it. And so everyone in class was like, oh my god. And that was the closest thing that there was to like the whole mommy.
That's like that transcends the mommy or the mom.
Yeah, that's a whole. There's like I called my teacher mom or dad, and then I was like hardcore dating basically the teacher's child, and they didn't realize it. That's just next level.
How do you not? That's the thing. That's something I would probably...
People date in secret all the time.
Oh, no. I'm saying, when you say that, do you not think in your head, like, really slowly about that main... Like, the mom and dad thing, I can understand, but, like, do you not think... I probably shouldn't say this. Straight to the parental guardian of this person that I'm dating.
Oh, no, yeah, no. For a second, I thought when you're saying, maybe I shouldn't say that, I honestly, deadass was like really scared. I'm like, did I just say something?
Oh, no.
You're talking about the guy. I was like, I was so confused. I got really scared. I was like, oh no, did I just say something that was really bad? But I was like,
no.
I don't know if I say anything. No, yeah, you would think like there'd be like, yeah, no, that's also just on that part. Like, why would you openly go up to like the parent of like the person you're dating and be when they actively don't know and be like, yeah, I kissed your child. Like that's not how you tell someone. That's not the first like interaction you want to have with someone's parent.
Saying you don't want to be like,
yeah, like literally, like, yeah, I kissed your child. So what? What are you gonna do about it? It already happened. No. Like that's how you get it.
Apparently she had problems with him before, so she had her husband, who was like the VP at the high school, to come talk with him.
With the child.
With like the kid, yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, this is like 8th grade at the time, and then that happened.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a funny, embarrassing moment because, like, I guess like the most objective, like, embarrassing thing that happened to me in high school, like, it's technically like, yeah, it was really embarrassing for me, but it's not even like that. It was funny. It was just really sad. So, I'm trying to think of like a funny, embarrassing thing, but that's the only thing that comes to mind.
I think the only thing that comes to mind is like, I don't know, like farting during class or something. Like, I don't know.
Oh, I have one. It wasn't embarrassing for me, but it was kind of funny. It was when I was in 8th grade. In the class I was in, there was like, you know, I go by Tori, and there was someone else in my class that also, their name is Tori, and it was my math class, and the other Tori wasn't really good at math, but I was like one of the top students, and the teacher was passing back the exams, and he stops at the other Tori's desk, who sat like 2 seats in front of me, and was like talking to her and was like, I'm so proud of you, like you really did really well on this one, like I can see the improvement, like, you know, I'm really proud, like you did really well on this. He gave her my exam. So at first she was like, oh, you know, and then she looked at it and you could just see her deflate, and she got pissed. So I think this. I felt bad. I felt so bad. So it's kind of like embarrassing on the teacher because like the teacher then realized when he got to her exam to give it to her was like, wait, this is your exam. Like, still good, not as good, but like it's still good. Like it was a really awkward interaction. Tried to be like, because he gave her this whole like speech about how proud he was, and it wasn't even her exam. And I felt so bad. Because I remember, because she literally stomped up to my desk and went, "I think this is yours," and slammed it on my desk and walked away. And I just looked at it and I was like, "Well, it wasn't like you know, like a slam, but like it was a slap. Like she slapped it on my desk, and yeah, and it was like I remember she specifically said, "I think this is yours," because I looked at it, and I remember looking at it being like, "That's not even my best." Like I was like, "Oh, I could have done better." Like it was like I just looked at it and I was like, could have done better. Only at this grade for me, because it was like I was just good at that class. Because I was a math science student, you know. I did good in those classes. I didn't do well in history, in English. So I just remember like I felt so bad because this poor girl was like, because I think like the whole class heard when like he was talking to her too, because like everyone was just quiet, and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm surprised, like, because he wasn't like screaming it or anything, but like you hear stuff. The classrooms aren't that big, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just the awkward silence of like she just gets up from her chair and she silently walks back and just goes like, yeah, I think this is yours, and then just like walks back while he's like also still passing out exams. And I remember the kid next to me just went like, oh no. Like the kid like next to me was like, oh no. Like he was like, oh shit. And I was like, well, wasn't expecting that one. I was like, damn. But I guess, yeah, I wasn't really embarrassing for me. I guess it's more embarrassing on the teacher that he didn't read the last name. Just saw Tori in like a decent grade and was like, oh, I'm so proud. Like the person that normally didn't do well in math, like is doing well, and then it turns out like it wasn't the case. It was a red herring. Well, do you have one that's besides farting?
Well, I don't know. I don't like literally. That's the only thing I could think of.
That brought me back to another story. This is when I was in 4th grade. I remember we had this new girl in class that moved in to the area, and so our teacher was making us, you know, we had sat in our little share circle and had us like, I guess, tell about us and all that. And I was sitting next to this one girl that I guess I was friends with, and she said her name. But for some reason, when it got to my name, I said the girl that I was friends with, I said her name as my name. So everyone from then on would call me that girl's name for like the rest of the year. And then he just went out of touch. Everyone was like, you know, kids they find something new or someone else like messes up, and then it's their turn.
Yeah. I haven't had that. I don't. Maybe it was like, I mean, maybe when I played baseball and like someone would foul tip and it hit me right in the crotch. Like, that's not really embarrassing though. I mean, I would like get hit and like walk away and just be like, oh, like about to throw up. But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. The only thing I could think of is like I was sitting. I sit in class taking a test, the quietest moment out of the entire day, and just like, I don't know, letting one rip. That's literally all I can think of. I don't even think if that happened. Like it probably can't.
Like was it like a fart that everyone heard then?
Oh yeah, I mean it probably was.
Okay.
I don't really remember. I just remember like something like that happening.
You just fucking let it rip and
not just like consciously.
Hall.
I wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna just fucking let one rip. No, it was just like,
Well, that would objectively make it embarrassing. Yeah, it's the accidental, like, when you think it's like a quiet fart, but just like a fucking, like,
it's a monstrous.
it's just it's just a monsoon.
It's a monsoon.
It's just like, oh no. Critical.
Yeah.
Wind levels.
The wind levels. I don't know. It's just like, it's either something like that, or it was like, I don't know, in the middle of class, the teacher's like, okay, what is this? You raise your hand, you're like, 2, and they're like, you're wrong.
Yeah, they're like, not even close.
Not even close, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, you're like, oh. I mean, there have been times where I, like, that almost happens, where, like, the teacher's like, oh, like, who has the answer for this? And I'm like, I know this. You know, like, I'm like, I know this, and I raise my hand, and, like, thankfully they don't call me, and someone, like, says something completely different, and they're like, correct, and I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
in the moment, I'm like, what do you mean? But then I immediately go, thank everything that I didn't get called on, and, like, in the sheer confidence of, like, the 2 seconds being like, it's this, and then being like, no. And I'm like, what? And just, like, in front of everyone. That's almost happened to me a lot, but, like, thankfully, sometimes the few times I do raise my hand, it's usually in classes that, like, I actually know things, so if I do get called on, I usually am correct, because after stuff like that would happen, I'd be like, I'm not raising my hand unless I, like, 100% know this is factually correct. And if they call on me anyways, I'm going to silently cry because I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't paying attention.
Oh yeah, insect. Yeah, Mia's picks were fire. Dope as fuck. Mia's killing it. As always. Oh, you also said, I think the most embarrassing thing is when I was sweating out of nervousness to present my project in 4th grade, and I sweated so much that I had dark stain in my butt. Everybody was like, ooh, did you pee?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that.
I mean, at least it was, like, 4th grade, so I mean... And then it's so possible everyone's forgotten about that. Like, most people, like, unless, like, things happen to, like, that person specifically, no one remembers 4th grade.
I don't think I've talked to anyone from my 4th grade class at all. And I don't know how many years.
I've only talked to one, and it was because she was in my college class. That was it.
Yeah, I haven't talked to anyone from that time period or anything like that since, like, beginning of high school, because they're, like, moving around, and then I do have some of them, like, on Facebook friends, but other than that, it's about it.
Oh yeah, Facebook's a thing.
I talked to one of them the other day. One of my elementary school buds.
How was that? How did that go?
We were just catching up. Like, we talked through high school. We were in classes in high school, too. And I was like, oh, shoot, what's up? And I was telling him about some projects that I had done and worked with and all that. And we were just catching up, so... Yeah, I haven't talked to... I literally, coming out of high school, it was just a small group of people that I, like, kept in contact with and, like, stayed in touch. And I still keep in touch with them, too. So... But not like
solid, like 5.
Yeah, literally, it's literally that. It's not even that amount. Almost. It's
I don't know. I'm in a group chat, and then besides that group chat, I talk to like one person. So it's like if you count the group chat, I technically talk to like 8 people from my high school, but it's like only when that group chat. Oh my god, group chat. Like someone messages in it. So it's like I don't know if I can even call that like staying in contact with, but like occasionally like because even in that group chat, like I actively probably would like sometimes like one or two people in that group chat will like message me and be like, "Yo, like, it's been a while. Like, what's going on?" You know, like,
Yeah.
and we'll talk a little bit, and they'll be like, I talk to them for like for 2 days straight, and then I don't for 2 months because I'm terrible with like social interactions, even over like text. So like, if that happens, like if one of you guys are watching this right now, or listening, it's not personal. I'm just terrible. I just am terrible at that kind of thing.
You heard it here, folks. I'm just joking.
Tori doesn't know how to fucking talk. Wow.
No, it's not.
Surprise! Surprise! It's been a thing everyone's known since like literally since my existence, because I've had difficulty speaking literally since I could speak. I had to get surgery as a child because I literally couldn't talk. Let's go!
Wait, really?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm glad whenever I learn new well, I mean, I don't know how glad.
I'm glad to know that you had surgery as a child.
I don't. Okay, look. That's not what I meant to be glad. I meant it was glad to know new things.
Thank you for sharing me this new piece of information with you. I'm glad you got surgery as a child.
That's not what I'm glad about. I'm glad
that you had
God.
Surgically.
I'm just glad to know like new information, because it seems like there's like little nuggets that we haven't like.
Nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah, that we just haven't like. Yeah, little nuggets, not knowledge, just little nuggets.
But you're
like
saying
chicken
nuggets, not
nuggies.
saying nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah, I was just saying little nuggets, like chicken nuggets.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
We get to learn about.
I was tongue-tied as a child, so I couldn't talk. So I had to. And what tongue-tied means is like, it doesn't mean your tongue's like a natural knot or anything. It just means like the bit of your tongue that attaches to the bottom of your mouth, like where it's supposed to like stop. It was still attached like further down the tongue than it was supposed to be. So like I couldn't move my tongue, which like, if you don't know, is like.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very much required for speech to work. So, as a child, I physically couldn't talk because of that. But on top of that, I wasn't getting far anyways because I had like critical like ear infections. So I was basically deaf as a child until I got that fixed. So I was like, I couldn't hear, so I wasn't hearing the language I was supposed to be learning. And even if I could hear it, I couldn't replicate speech because I physically couldn't. So like, at the age that like small children start to say words, I wasn't saying words, and then my parents were like, "Oh no, it's broken." They didn't actually say that, but I like to think that they're just like, "Why isn't the child working? Something's wrong." And then that was wrong. So I had to go to speech therapy for a while because I didn't know how to talk.
I went to speech therapy too when I was a kid.
Yo.
I didn't. I was just chubby.
I was also a chubby kid.
I was just fat as fuck. I was just fat as fuck. I don't know. Literally, that was like, I think that was like my one childhood trait, was everyone be like, okay, so we have this guy, he's very fast. We have this guy, he's very strong. Wow, he is fat. Holy shit.
Look at that chubster over there.
Look at that marshmallow over there. God. And I was just standing there like, oh,
I'm gonna roly-poly you if you don't.
I'm just gonna roll
you don't
away.
leave me alone. I'm gonna just turn into a roly-poly and just vroom,
roll away.
knock it out like a bowling ball. Let's go.
That was the thing
But
too.
you did that?
No. I didn't do that. No.
What the hell?
No, I would use my weight to my advantage when we played football. Oh, the hit stick came into command.
Okay,
just because I was
though,
large.
like if you look at the weights of like people on football teams, like they specifically have different positions bulk up for that reason, because having a higher weight actually.
Yeah, well, that was the thing for my position.
It's not muscle weight.
Yeah,
like,
it's all
fat.
Mm-hmm.
I can say this because I have knowledge, and I'm not going to disclose why I have the knowledge because I don't feel like doxing myself, but just trust me on this, chat. I know.
She is actually an intern at one of the biggest football.
Nah, I just got inside
teams.
knowledge of the NFL. I know people.
Yeah, she's deep in. She's one of the like undercover people. So.
Ooh, worst injuries.
Ooh.
What is the worst injury ever?
Actually, that has to literally. This is the segue right here that goes into football too. Concussion. Oh my god! Like I've had broken fingers. I've had I've broken my finger before, and and it was during football. I've sprained like my ankles before. Like one of them still is sprained. Like I don't know if y'all remember, we'd walk down the halls and it would just pop. Like my ankle would just start popping.
Oh, my ankles do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have messed up ankles too.
The reason my knees do it is just because I would always be in I'd be on the O line, so I'd be squatting all the time. Not only that, I'd play catcher, so I'd be squatting all the time. So my knees will just pop randomly, like all the time, and it won't just be like a pop. It would be like a crunch, and just But my ankle, it literally. Like my ankle, anytime I ever bend it, it will just start popping. So every time I take a step, it'll just pop.
Yeah, it releases it's the fluid.
Yeah. That's one of them too. But the worst one was getting concussions. Oh my god! Every time it was like I would get you can get smaller ones and they're not as bad, and it's like okay, I'm but and I've been through some of those just because every play I'd get hit. But the one of the worst ones was, I think it was during no, it was actually, that one was during baseball. I got hit by I don't even think it was a curveball. I think it was a fastball straight to the temple.
God damn. Yeah, that was
it. And I was just hobbling over to first base. All I heard was boom, wee, and I was just walking, and I could barely see. I was like, "What?" But I could hear people in the background faintly going, "Get on a knee, get down on a knee," and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Get on a knee. What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "I'm just gonna make it to first base. Just give me a second." I gotta get there first.
It's like 5 minutes later. You're like, just give me a second.
Just give me a second. I gotta get to first base.
I'm trying so hard. Just literally let me get to first base. That's funny.
But I'll never forget.
Was it one of the last concussions you had? Most recent. In the grand scheme.
Yeah, in the grand, basically, because it was football and then baseball, and that was the last sport I played before.
Yeah, that makes sense, because concussions, that's the thing about concussions in general, is because it's an injury to your brain, is they naturally get worse. So, of course it also stems into, how bad the impact is. So, but, naturally, if you, as I've had 2 or 3 concussions myself, and no matter what, if I get a concussion again, it's naturally gonna be worse, because it's it's a reoccurring injury. It's you're hurting something that's already been injured before. Yeah. So it naturally gets worse. I actually had a cousin that was discharged from the army because of that reason. It's because that's just how concussions are. It's even if it. And I remember, the concussion that they discharged her on was actually a minor concussion, but it was because it was, the such and such concussion she had, that it's because of the repercussions of brain injuries in general, that it's such a risk that it's, when you have so many, it's just, if you get injured again, what it could make it really, really bad.
Yeah, so, and it's happened to me sometimes, during football, if I get hit, even if it's a small one, it still kind of hurts. My head's just but it takes a few minutes to go away, and it's because, of getting hit, and then getting hit, and then getting hit again,
Yeah, recurrent injury, yeah. Not a joke.
Yeah, and so, But like that one was bad, getting hit to the temple. And then what made it worse was after, they cleared me or whatever, I get back out there, and it was sooner than it was supposed to be. So like I was going out there sooner than what they, wanted to, so I go out there and I think an inning or 2 or 3 go by or whatever, and then I get hit by a foul pitch.
In the head again? Because
I was catching, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you were a catcher, yeah.
Yeah, ding, or hit me right on the head. I was like, oh, God, okay. You're good. Get me through this inning, and you're going to have to, like, pull me, because, yeah, this doesn't feel too good. Like,
yeah. Oh, boy.
And it was, like, I mean, there's a difference between it skidding off and it just going, bah, and just hitting you straight in the helmet.
Oh, yeah.
And I had one of the best like catching gears that you could get. Like not because like I just wanted to have the best, like because I knew that would protect like everything to the best of its ability. So I didn't have like one of those. I didn't have the original like catcher's mask, but I had like a hockey style mask because what it'll do is it'll like skid off easier. So I got one of those, and it still was like. It would like ring my ears like every time. I'm like, oh yeah. God. Like,
I hate that I also have knowledge about that because my brother did a study on that. Not necessarily like that exact helmet, but just in general, like why all of the helmets, even like in the NFL that they use, that like how they're structured. A lot of times, helmets in itself sometimes actually make those injuries worse. It's because of how they actually rattle your head.
Yeah.
Because of how concussions are actually caused. So a lot of people think it's because something smacks your head. It's a bruise because it hits your head. Technically, yes, but it's because your head moves, your head jerks, but your brain, since your brain isn't like completely attached in all directions, and it's kind of just in there. So your brain also hits it because inertia exists. Something that goes in motion wants to stay in motion. So your brain just fucking flies and hits your skull. And that's what causes the concussion. A lot of people don't realize that. Like, it's because your brain smacks, like, the inside of your skull because of that movement, because of that jerk of movement. It's not from, like, it hitting your skull. It's because of the actual internal movement that happens. So, a lot of times, like, because, like, how helmets are made, sometimes the helmets actually sometimes make it worse because it's another thing that just rattles it more somehow. So I remember because he wrote this whole like paper and all this stuff and did this study while he was getting his degree.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to
all about how helmet design does it. I think they've actively changed or trying to make it better. Well, but I remember he did a lot of like actual studying and like actual scientific research on it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, they made a helmet called like the Reflex or the something like that, and it was a helmet that instead of having the original like padding, like when you look into a helmet, you see the squares of padding, and it's basically just
that's their attempt. They're like, this is how you do it. It isn't.
Well, the original helmet design, basically, it was just a shell. It had the padding, and then and I mean, of course, over the years it would get different. They would update the padding to somewhat litigate the amount of force going onto the skull. But there's this new helmet.
No, they just didn't understand how it worked, which is fine because and this is just a general fact for everyone out here. Again, because I have inside information on this shit. Woohoo! It just, especially in sports medicine, it just, the understanding of concussions in general is completely different than it was a couple years ago. And it's the fact that they're actually starting to understand how, because there's always the assumption of like, oh, this is how they work, this is how we prevent them. And they went with that idea, but they're now realizing that that idea isn't correct.
Yeah.
So they're now just starting to realize, okay, these are the steps we need to do. And it's going to take a while for, like, proper gear to be, like, manufactured, because they're still figuring it out. So this is not me in any way being like, don't wear a helmet. Wear helmets, please.
Well, they minimize the effect of a concussion on you.
They minimize it.
Not a lot, but it does.
Not a lot, but a little bit.
And it keeps you from getting a skull fracture.
That too. They do prevent other injuries. And they don't do a lot in the concussion department, but they do a lot in other departments.
And keep you from getting cauliflower ear, and keep you from getting your eardrums busted, and keep you from...
depending on the sport, it does
just a lot of things.
It does things.
No, but this helmet, it basically, like, what it did was it's molded to the shell, but...
No, I know exactly what helmet you're talking about.
And it has, like, these little tubes in it that basically, whenever force is applied, it shifts.
It's a shock absorber.
Yeah.
The easiest way to explain it. It's a shock absorber.
Yeah, it like basically just absorbs the shock. Yeah. So like it'll shift, but it'll actually shift. So it doesn't like it's not just applied pressure like exactly on the point of that tube or that little pressure point. It'll like actually move the shell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what they tried to do with these helmets called the Flex helmets. But I think it was Rydell that made them. The Flex helmets have this like pressure point right on the crown of the skull that when you press on it, it gives way. So if you hit with the front of like especially for linemen, which most of the time either hits with their face mask or right at the base of the skull, like the front of the skull. So they put the pressure point right there to reduce the impact of that hit. And I thought it was like good. And even I noticed stuff because like whenever the end of high school started coming, I started to use those helmets, and it was 10 times better because I was like, oh shoot, like now I'm not like every day feeling like I'm hitting a cement block. Like
absolutely.
So
in the sport I played, we really should have had helmets, and it's funny because I think actually now that sport requires helmets. It's really funny because I remember when I was actively in high school, there was an argument like every year at the national level whether or not that we should have helmets or not.
But y'all didn't have helmets? That's crazy because that's like that's terrible.
The balls are made of lacrosse balls are literally concrete coated in a thin coat of rubber.
Yeah.
And we fucking just whip them around.
Yeah.
And we had goggles. We wore goggles.
That's a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm. That's where I got my 3 concussions.
Well, I know in college...
Because a concrete ball got yeeted at my head.
Yeah, I know in college they have helmets, but I don't think it's like required.
Not for girls. Not for women's.
I know the guys do. I've seen the guys wear helmets.
No. Males at all levels have full helmets. They have full padding. Also, it is also
y'all don't have full padding either? Oh, God.
We don't have... Well, women's lacrosse has goggles and a stick, all right?
Look, I don't...
And cleats.
Like, either way, that's not a good idea. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Also, but it is important to make the distinction before I go further, is women's lacrosse and male's lacrosse are 2 completely different sports. Like, it's not even like the one people go, oh, baseball versus softball.
Yeah.
Like... Because those are fundamentally the same sport, but different equipment. Women's lacrosse, for the most part.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got
throwing, but the baseline of the sport is the exact same.
Yeah, the rules of the sport are sort of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Male and female lacrosse are legitimately completely different.
Wait, what's the difference?
The field's different. Male lacrosse is like full tackle.
Oh, like you're able to shoulder check and stuff like that.
You can fucking like fist fight like in like actual hockey and shit. Like you can go all on. In like male lacrosse, basically, it's like they can get really aggressive. But like women's lacrosse, it's like super like you aren't allowed to, but which arguably makes it so much worse because it means you still do it, but you do it dirty. You do it in subtle ways that you fucking nail your stick into people's sides. Like, by the way, because we're not wearing any equipment. So, like, you do it in ways that actually cause people pain because they don't wear anything, but you make it subtle.
Yeah.
Because, fun fact, even though everyone's like, oh, but because males are more aggressive, so give them the more aggressive version of the sport. Females aren't aggressive. Don't make it aggressive. Females can get really aggressive. Like, don't get me wrong. When I was in high school, I faced off against some nasty people in lacrosse. Like, you know, like
Yeah, you were
nasty
whooping ass
people.
left and right. You gave no shits. You gave everybody
No.
the smoke. Anybody who wanted it, fucking, they got the smoke.
Also, like, yeah, just in general, like, how we do... There's just a lot of things about, like, how they do, I forget what it's called, but, like, when you you're in basketball, I forget what it's called, but, like, when you're in the middle, and they throw in the ball in the air, and you have to get it. You know what I'm talking about?
Basketball?
No, like, the specific thing.
Is that a
That
tip?
one, like,
It's a tip off.
You have the ball, and they put it in the air, and they have to, like, try to get it. And it decides, like, who starts it off.
Are you talking about, like,
No.
is it the one where the ball is, like, bouncy or whatever?
What?
What are you talking about?
No, it's like, okay, so, like, football has the coin flip,
Mm-hmm.
but other sports, they actually physically have to get the ball.
Yeah, basketball.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about
But there's a word for that.
The tip off, or the yeah, it's like a.
Is it
It's
not
like a.
there's another word for it. Whatever that term is, like, how that is completely different in male versus female lacrosse. Actually, it's completely different. It's, like, weird. In female lacrosse, the field is a full football field, but in male lacrosse, it's actually a bit smaller, which is crazy because, like, even the fields are completely different. It's, like, it's weird how different it actually is. But I guess now they're realizing, like, hey, because we're using the sticks are different, actually. They're different lengths. Male lacrosse players have longer sticks than females do. Which is actually, yeah, I remember relaying about that. Yeah, so they're honestly two completely. It's called Jump For It. I
don't know if that's the actual. Let's just call it Jump For It.
Jump For It. Yeah, honestly, that's basically the best way to describe it. When they just jump and slap it, and they're
I
like,
just want to hear an announcer say, "Okay, we're starting off the beginning of the game. We're gonna go to the Jump For It."
Ready to Jump For It. Place your bets. He's gonna win the Jump For It today.
Oh, they won the Jump For It.
Look at them taking the ball to the offense. Go, go, go. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Gabe, what was your worst injury?
Yeah, we didn't ask you, Gabe. We were on a tangent.
Oh. So that's what we were talking about. Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah,
what we were talking
it got
about
really off hand.
sports. But I never played sport. Well, I played basketball like once, but that was like other than that. And then I went to like a football camp, like retreat thing, like once, and that was it. But I guess the most embarrassing way that I broke. Are you talking about like what's my worst injury or what's my embarrassing injury?
The question was worst. But you could just say like an embarrassing one.
They're all like pretty low, like the same. Like I've broken like my bone. I've broken like bones like 3 different times. The first one was when I was playing badminton in PE. Okay. I was running backwards. I think I've told Will this story. I was running backwards, and like I tripped and I fell on my hand.
Oh.
So like I land on it and all I hear is like this crunch, like popcorn popping. And I was like, ah, shit. And so it hurt like hell, and then I go through, and like they told me it was broken. I was like, ah, shit. Second time I broke something, it was my finger. It was my ring finger on my right hand. I was playing flag football in PE, and I got caught on the PE teacher's belt string or whatever. So like when he ended up like pulling away, like doing like an invasive maneuver type thing, it pulled my finger with it, and so it broke it.
Oh.
And then the third time
He
was
is
when
dangerous.
yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart.
School. You heard it here first, folks. Gym class is dangerous.
Gym class
like-
kills.
And then third time I broke my bone was when I was in I was going out to check the mail and I slipped because of the porch was icy. So I slipped and I ended up breaking my foot.
Ooh.
He broke-ted his foot.
Dang.
Foot. Yeah, I don't know. Like, everyone, I think I'm like the only one in my family that's broken a bone.
Yeah, I don't think I've broken a bone. Well, okay. I think by definition, I technically have. But, like, when people are like, oh, did you break a bone? I don't consider it.
Well, what do you mean?
It's a tooth.
Oh, okay.
Because teeth are technically bones, but, like, I don't consider it. Because I haven't, like, broken an arm or a finger or any of that, like...
Yeah.
But I've had my tooth shattered. So it's like, by definition, yes, technically, a bone in my body has been just obliterated. But...
Wait, how did it happen?
It was February of 2008.
Flashback.
I still vividly
the winter
remember
was
this day.
cold and hard.
I vividly remember this day. It was February. It was either 2008 or 2009. It was a snowstorm. It was whatever year that, like, and like, I shit you not, they literally dubbed it Snowmageddon.
Yeah,
it was this really bad snowstorm that hit the East Coast, and we had at the time record-breaking snow, and it was a day that we were all just chilling outside, and I was standing on top of, like, not even, like, joking, like, a foot of packed snow in the yard. So I was literally just, like, above. And my brothers were throwing baseball and on the street. And I was just watching, standing in the yard, or above the yard, technically, because of the snow. And it was a combination of my brother threw a bad pitch, and my other brother didn't catch that bad pitch, and it ended up hitting the concrete, not the concrete, but like the pavement in a way, and it bounced up and smacked me in the face. But it's also, my brother was like a pitcher, so he threw really, really fast, and sometimes really, really hard.
Yeah, he hummed
so
that
it was
shit.
just like, so it was a boom, boom, like, bam, it hit my face, and I'm still amazed by this. It hit my one front tooth, and it shattered it, like, absolutely shattered it. No other tooth got chipped. My lip didn't get busted. Like, literally nothing else got hit. It was literally, like, this ball with pinpoint accuracy hit the one tooth, but that tooth, like, literally shattered and was obliterated. And if you know anything about, like, adult teeth, especially, like, your front main two, there's these two big dangly nerves that run through those teeth. And
Yeah,
literally, even the nerves were gone.
Ugh.
Like, literally, like, there was just a sliver of the tooth left. Like, it wasn't even like the nerves were dangling out. Like, it was gone.
That's nasty.
So I'm like 8 or 9 years old, and I'm like, like,
Panicking, yes.
there's blood, like, all over the snow turned red. Like,
Ugh.
Mom and Dad start panicking because, yeah. I think I was taken to the hospital because I had exposed nerve endings, which is never a good sign, because you don't want your nerve endings to be exposed. I still remember how it felt. I don't recommend it, because it's very, very sensitive. So, like, it hurt, like, because, like, you know, because your nerve endings aren't supposed to be exposed to the freaking atmosphere. Like, it's not supposed to be outside your body. So I remember I think they had to take me to the hospital because they basically had to like seal it so they weren't like exposed anymore. And then I literally had like a sliver of this tooth left. And then like for a couple days, they were like, well, because it was my adult tooth too, so it wasn't like they could just pull it and be like, all right, it's fine. No, it was my adult one. They were replacing that at the ripe age of like 9 years old. And so they slapped a cap on it and called it a day. But it took several days for them to put a cap on it. So I remember going to school and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, well, they didn't say that because they were like 8 years old. But they were like, oh my god, what happened? Because in the nicest way possible, when you talk and one of your main like literally the two biggest teeth in your mouth
are
and
gone.
I'm missing, yeah, and one of them's gone. And another thing that didn't help with the fact that I already struggled with speech is the airflow in my mouth was completely different now because I had a giant gaping hole. So like I would talk and there'd be like a whistle because air was just going through. And so like if people didn't physically see that there was a giant tooth missing, they heard it, and then like they heard like almost like a whistle sound like while I was talking, and they'd be like, what's that? And then they looked and then they're like, oh god, what happened to your face?
This was before you had your adult teeth, right? So you still had your adult teeth coming in, right?
No, that was my adult tooth.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I had a cap.
Wait, so right now, do you have like a cap?
I have an implant. I had to get surgery in high school. I had surgery. Yeah, it's now an implant. So like, it's literally a titanium rod that is literally embedded in my skull.
Yeah.
No, it goes into the skull. The actual bone.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. I don't, because I have to get one. Yeah, I have to get one too.
Yeah. Well, just the surgery I had was the worst, not the worst experience of my life. I've had far worse, but it wasn't fun because they literally frog taped me down to the chair so I wouldn't move, and then I was like, they kept me awake the entire time, and then they just poked the numbing thing around it and called it a day. Just started working on it.
Yeah.
And there was one point, and this is the part that sucked. Everything was numb except one point. So they would be working, and it would just be like numb, 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 sharp pain. And I couldn't do anything about it because there's hands in my mouth. They have a drill going because they're actively drilling into my skull while I'm wide awake, and I could feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna do something.
No, yeah, it wasn't my favorite. But you know what? They had me taped down to this chair, which is like, it's like, oh, why can't you make noise? I was definitely making noise, but they're like, it's fine.
You're good.
They're fine.
Just
yeah, like I was like, ugh!
As they're lighting up the blowtorch, clear.
Basically, I don't go to that. I don't go to that person anymore.
Settling torch.
You're gonna feel a little bit of pain.
Yeah,
you could just get the blowtorch out.
You know, yeah. I guess like I technically say like that tooth incident is my worst injury just because like it had the most lasting effects. Because like literally, I was 9 years old, got hit with a baseball, it shattered. You know that, and I had a cap slapped on, and then I had that cap until high school, until I had Invisalign. And literally one day I shit you not, I was in homeroom. I took out my Invisalign, and the cap was lodged into the Invisalign. And I remember looking down at it and being so scared that it pulled the tooth out. It didn't. But it also meant I had to spend the entire day going to class with, like, the sliver of this tooth that I had exposed. So I remember, like, a bunch of people. Because it's the same thing. It's like when you talk, that air. It makes like a whistle sound if I had to talk. So like people would be like, "Yo, what the hell's wrong with what's wrong with Tori?" And I'm like nothing's wrong. Like please, like
Yeah.
And then like later that year, like they slapped on. I think they like basically just like super glued it back on, and then later they're like, okay, well, like the cap option's not gonna work forever. We're just gonna perform surgery on you if that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm 17 years old and I already have an implant. Let's go. I have a piece of titanium in my skull forever. Because that's not going away. I remember going to every time I go to an airport, I can't help but get scared that like the metal detector's gonna go off because I literally have metal in my skull. It never does, but I can't help that like literally every single time I go to an airport and they're like, "Oh, do you have any like do you have any things?" And I'm like, I know this isn't gonna go off, but just in case it does, I have like a titanium rod in my freaking face. And they're like, no, and that's a thing. That's the thing. Like, what are they gonna do? Because it's like it's in my map. Like, do they think like I don't want to. No, like that's why I'm like, I literally have this. If some weird line shows up on my face in your machine, I swear that's what that is. Like, because people like ingest things to get them by security. So like, that's a thing. So I'm like, please, I'm, just in case they're like, what's that? I'm like, it's from, I had surgery when I was in high school. That was that. I swear. It is funny because my brother's still, okay, well, for the longest time they blame each other, but now they switched to blaming me, and I was like, I was 8 years old, and I was standing outside.
Yeah.
But their argument is basically that like I asked to be hit, and I was like, okay.
What?
Alright.
Well, because I think their argument was at one point. Oh, actually, I muted myself there. At one point in the situation, they were like, "We told you to go inside," but I'm like, okay, but it wasn't because you guys were bad at throwing. So like, there was like, and I was also like 8 years old. But like for the longest time, it was always like the one brother being like, "You threw a bad pass," and the other one being like, "You didn't catch it." So like it was like it would always be really funny if like my tooth came up in conversation. They'd just point fingers at each other and be like, "You were the cause of that.
It was
you were the cause of that." And now they both go, "Well, Tori was the idiot that was there," and I was like, "I was literally a very small child.
I was 8.
I was literally 8 or 9 years old."
I was even count.
Small. I could count, not much, but I could, because that's like, when you're 8 or 9, that's like 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So you're doing rocket math at that point. Yeah. So now I have I think, what was the material made of? Like, I think the actual like the quote-unquote tooth part of it's like porcelain or some shit. It sounds like so bougie. So I'm like, yeah, I have titanium and porcelain in my body. Like, it sounds so bougie, but like I guess that's just like what they do. Yeah, I have a bougie tooth. I got titanium which is like a titanium, it's a screw. They just
it's just a screw. They just
It's literally just a giant screw. Like I remember, that was what the doctor said. He's like, fun fact, he's like, literally this is gonna be the last remaining thing in your body. He's like, even when like you decay, like that's gonna be there forever. And I'm like, thanks. Like,
thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I know that you're factually correct. Like even like in the long time it takes even for bones to like go, like that will always be there. Just chunk of metal and like porcelain. it will just forever be in existence in this world because it's not gonna just naturally go away. So I'm like, thanks. I'm like taped down to the chair, and I'm like, thank you for telling me how permanent this is.
Thank you for informing me.
thank you for telling. Because I guess the joke was because like with caps, like they would fall off and crap, and like, oh, what a nuisance. And I guess like that was his way of being like, don't worry, this isn't gonna fall off. And I'm like, I would hope not, because you literally drilled it into my skull. Like,
yeah,
it's there forever. So this is like the bottom, like, because it's like you either get into your mandible, which is like your bottom set jaw, or your skull, which is the top part, which is the fun part. Because they can numb the jaw pretty well, but you can only numb the skull so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shoot.
Medical fun.
I know, it's just amazing.
It's just amazing. And that's the only surgery I've ever had. Well, look at, I've had the tongue tie surgery, and I think that's it. All on my face. I've had both in my mouth, actually, because my tongue was messed up, and then my teeth were. I've never had a root canal, I've never had a cavity, but I have had to have.
Are you serious? You never had a cavity?
I've never had one either.
It's ironic because I'm gonna be completely honest. As a child, like and this is like I understand
had,
this is like
cavities.
this is terrible, but like
year.
I was a terrible child. I like refused to like brush my teeth as a young child. I ate like garbage food. I honestly don't understand how I have never had a cavity. Like, I did not take care of my teeth at all. But apparently it's like a genetic thing that like some people, like, it's just like how their teeth are like constructed, like, you know, like how much of like certain stuff is in it. That like for whatever reason, like the makeup of my teeth, they're just like, it's not impossible for me to get cavity, but it's like, for whatever reason, it's significantly harder for me to get a cavity than like the average person. I don't know why. I'm not complaining. But I honestly physically don't know how, like, because I know like how terrible I was as a child and like the sheer lack of like tooth care I did. I don't know how, because I know people that like even as a young child, like they actively kept up with that crap, and they had like 50 cavities, and I'm like, how? I'm like, how am I just over here like, look at you. My teeth are just like, maybe it was just because I didn't take care of myself as a child, so my teeth just adapted. Like something just happened, and they're like, all right, we're just immune. They just made themselves immune to it. Who knows?
And that's the end of this medical podcast. Thank you for joining today. I feel like I need to end it on that or something, like just a common soothing voice. Thank you for joining our medical podcast. Nah, I was gonna say Mia. I don't think Mia's gonna be here just because of what's going on at the stadium. So, like, I'm keeping up to date.
Is there something going on at the stadium right now?
Well, they're playing today. And right now they're at the bottom of the 10th. They're going into extra innings.
It's going overtime.
Yeah. So
they're busy.
See, good for the team, because I want them to win terribly, especially against this team. But poor Mia
working after hours right now.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they closed down earlier, but she has to stay to clean up.
Well, yeah,
So, blomp blomp, blomp blomp blomp. So.
Yeah, it's late too. That's a late game.
Yeah, it's gonna go on for a good bit until they can. Like, it takes
a while for the stadium to clean up too. So
yeah,
poor Mia.
Well, the one of the players just hit a dagger straight into the stands, like a home run. So it was, pretty big deal. So they're going. I think that's why they went into extra innings. I don't know. I can't watch.
Tied. Yeah.
I can't watch, but I'm getting updates. So.
Gotcha. Sorry, my bird is just being really weird.
Yeah.
Fair.
So.
Yeah.
Mia probably won't be here today. Well, I mean, we're already 2.5 hours in, so, I think we should go ahead and call it because I got to get some stuff done and chill for a little bit. Fair. So, yeah.
That's fair. I was actively emailing like professors during this call. I'm not gonna lie.
During the entire podcast.
Not the entire, because I recognize I was even late because of family stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. I get you.
What was it? So this podcast in a nutshell was NFTs,
medical, and
what was it, like injuries, embarrassing life events.
It was a productive podcast today.
But honestly, like I really enjoyed it. Like, honestly, like when people are like, hey, here's a question, like, because like we want to provide, like, if you guys have, even if it's stuff like, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you? What's the worst injury you've had?
Chat with us.
Yeah, because we get interaction.
Yeah, and what's weird is this is a good segue into our little segment of the end of the episode. Okay, go join our Discord to let us know what we should talk about. Let us know. Be active in the Discord because guess what? We're active in it too. So if you like to talk, we like to talk as well. We'll be there to talk with you. We do have social media. Go join our Twitter or Instagram at The Couch Corp or The Couch Corp Podcast. Follow us on Twitch. We're getting close. We're getting close to 50 guys, so we're more than halfway there. We can do it. So be there. Follow us there. Go join our Patreon if you can. You get perks with each tier. Top tier gets a drawing every month in our art style. Yeah. So if you want that, do go join. It's a click away. So yeah, I mean, am I missing anything?
No, I guess like the perk of like, okay, so like, words. Like,
wait, did you guys already talk about? Did you guys talk about Patreon?
Yeah, a little bit. I was just gonna say, like, the benefit of following, especially on the Twitch, is like you get notifications when we go live. So like, it's free. You don't have to pay to follow. But it's like, it's the easiest way to
keep up
if you want to catch another, if you want to, listen to another one, that's the easiest way to be like, okay, you're gonna get a live notification when the account goes live via Twitch. But on Discord, that's the best way to keep in contact with us. And just for reference, all the links to all of our online profiles are in the About page on our Twitch profile. So, all the links are there.
Go click the image and you'll click the image and you'll go straight to our links, or go to the links and then the About section, and it'll go straight to wherever you need to go. Go follow us.
If it doesn't, let us know and we can fix it.
Yeah, go follow us because you'll get any notifications, including like giveaways, or if we're doing a new thing, if we have a poll, you'll go and you'll see it there. We do go to every social media to be able to get the wider range instead of just one central place, unless we have to. So do go and do that and join. Keep up with us. We'll let you know what's up and we'll keep you updated. So is that it?
I believe so. Does Gabe want to do the outro?
Gabe, what do you have to say? Is there anything you want to say?
We were talking about Patreon, and I just had one message for Patreon.
Okay.
Give me your fucking money!
Oh my god. Okay, side note, we were joking about this before the podcast about the Patreon. And that was if all else fails and we're in the apocalypse, that's what we would say to our viewers.
Just give me your fucking money. Oh my god.
Do you not remember that Vine, Tori?
Oh, I know it.
She knows it by heart.
Not by heart. It reminds me of the it might actually be the same thing. It's just like the video clip in general of like when it's like Elmo breaking into an apartment.
What?
You know, it's like someone like.
Oh, is that the
like
one where they put the screwdriver through the hole and like they're screaming?
It's
Yes,
like
and he's
Elmo,
like,
it's Elmo and Kermit, and they're
it's
like,
let me in.
"Who's there?" Let me in. It's like I see Elmo. Like it's
Almost
so
got a
funny.
knife. What do you mean? No, he doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I'm covering the entire fucking
I
hole.
see him right there. He's like, no, you don't. You don't see anything. You don't see anything. And as soon as they like open the door, they
He's
like,
got pliers.
ransack him.
He's got pliers.
It's pliers. Yeah, it's pliers.
My entire face is covering the entire fucking hole.
You don't see anything. You don't see anything.
You don't see anything. Okay, I think we're done. I think we're good. Gabe.
I was just asking for the famous outro.
Okay, yeah, we asked for too much.
Yeah, far too much.
Gabe, take it away.
Ladies and gents and everything in between, sadly that time has come again where we must go back to our cold, dark, happy, and fulfilling lives. But fear not. Tune in next Saturday for another episode of Couch Corp. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. time zone. Stay safe and bye-bye.
Oh no.
Why, did you guys hear it or did I cut out again?
You kept cutting out.
You went
Fuck
full
it, y'all
Robo.
know the important shit. Just tell your mom to call me and see us next time.
You turned into an Autobot halfway through.
Autobots
then-
roll out.
Yeah, you went full robot, but like the part that was clear as day is, you know, the important shit. Have your mom call me. Like none of like.
Nothing else made it in except for that one little bit.
You guys know the gist. Also, all of our information's in the Discord. That's where we have announcements. You know, if something comes up, we have to delay a stream, or if we do one early, that's the first place you're gonna hear it.
So go join. What are you doing now? Why are you not joined? Join our Discord.
Why aren't you there?
What the fuck are y'all doing? It's literally in the chat. It's literally right there. It says community, Couch Corp community, Discord. Just click the link. What are you doing? God, it's like you gotta like spoon feed everybody about it. Come on, just click the link. What are you doing? Just join. It's right there. Bye. That was so rude. Oh my god. Okay, we're done.
God, I have to spoon feed you to throw in my Discord.
Just join the Discord. God. Just do it. It's right there. Okay, we're out. We'll catch y'all next Saturday. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Be there, be square. Yeah, I mean, you heard Gabe. We're out. Peace.
Rest well, and everyone have a nice one.
Stay safe.